All right. Top of the morning to you. So, welcome to today's show. It is St. Patrick's Day. I had no idea. I had some idea when I set up the date for this that it was St. Patrick's Day. Today, we are going to be, this is all about Adobe Summit that's coming up next week. So, I'm hoping that you are registered for Adobe Summit. If not, you can learn how to do that during this session. And hopefully wherever you are, it is a gorgeous day. It's luckily nice here. I am recovering from not having electricity for almost 3 solid days. The storm we had at the beginning of the week pretty much knocked a bunch of stuff out for us. So that was no fun at all. But anyways, so I'm going to bring Sarah up, and we are going to talk a little bit about what's been going on with App Builder. Hey, Sarah.
Hello, hello. Hi.
How are
Well,
things?
I'm doing better than Ron because, first of all, I'm wearing green
What do you mean?
for St.
I'm wearing.
Patrick's Day.
This is green, like and white. So, but yes, I don't have solid green. Ah,
Also, this is the perks of living closer inside, in city center is I was not without power.
yes. Well, I think all of San
Very
Jose
luckily.
was pretty well, yeah, saved. like,
Yep, absolutely.
yeah.
But hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the product manager for Adobe Developer App Builder. Great to see everybody here again.
All right. So what have you been doing with App Builder? What are some of the things that you've been up to?
Yeah, let me see. I think it's been a couple months since we've talked. I would say the most exciting thing is we've announced availability with Commerce and with the Experience platform. So in the past, you can only purchase App Builder if you're an Experience Manager customer, so an AEM customer. But we very recently, as of January of this year, if you are an Adobe Commerce or Experience Platform customer, you can also purchase App Builder. By the way, it's all bundled the same across these different products. So whichever one you purchase, the capacity is shared, and you can use it to extend whichever product of your selection. In addition, we're going to talk more about the commerce news later, but very fantastically for our commerce customers, if you are on Commerce Cloud, you actually also get bundle in capacities for App Builder. All you need to do is talk to your sales representative and get your access allocated.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, so I think it's great for App Builder and for customers that it's out of the box, right? So that they can leverage API mesh or leverage App Builder to create those API meshes for that seamless integration with back end commerce systems. So
Exactly.
yeah, so the session we did last week with Nishant covered a lot of that. We'll talk a little bit about some of the upcoming sessions that are also going to cover that as well. And let me bring in Russell here. Hey man, how you doing?
Hello, hello.
So Russell's going to talk a little bit later about the commerce sessions and what's available from commerce. We've got a number of sessions that are kind of cover App Builder and API Mesh and a bunch of other capabilities that Commerce is showcasing this year.
Exactly.
Cool. And then what else are you going to show us today, Russell? You've got a couple other tricks up your
Yeah.
sleeve.
So I'm gonna go over some simple use cases and explain some of our tutorials that we've produced on Experience League, which will help you get more familiar with the concept of App Builder, because we know it's going to be very foreign for most of us old school Magento developers, because it's a different way of thinking. So we're going to go over that, kind of touch base, kind of level set, make sure everybody has a clear understanding of the intent, and then hopefully when you leave here, you're going to be ready to rock and roll for next week.
Yeah, right on. That is fantastic. All right, so let's get into Summit. Let me pull this up and go over and select it so I can go through it. So if you've never been to Summit, it is an absolutely amazing experience. So if you haven't registered for in-person in Las Vegas, and there's like an inkling of possibility, it was like a Friday before it starts next week on Tuesday. So it's probably slim, but it is definitely an amazing opportunity, an amazing experience. We do, I think, probably one of the best conferences. And this is the first in-person since the pandemic. So I think a lot of people are really excited to be back in person and to connect, right? So connecting through the screens, getting a little old, definitely. We opened our new Adobe Tower in downtown San Jose, called the Founders Tower. And it's been fantastic, like seeing people in person and going into the office now. So you can get that feeling with people across the industry by going to Summit. But if you cannot join us, you can definitely watch virtually. And there's a number of sessions, the keynotes, inspiration session, the sneaks, which is probably one of my absolute favorite sessions. Bar none. It is an amazing, amazing time. And this year we've got Tig Notaro, who is hosting that. So I think that's going to be a great session. And we've got a couple of folks that I actually know that are presenting. So it's going to be super exciting. And if you want to register, there's a little QR code down if you want to hit that, by all means. So Adobe Summit for Developers, what we've done is, and I put the link into the chat earlier, where there's a blog post that my colleague Colleen posted yesterday that goes through a number of key sessions that we believe developers would really be interested in. And while this is App Builder Live, and we talk about all things App Builder, there are broader developer areas that folks are going to be covering at Summit. So we'll cover some of those here in this. And the first one that's beyond or doesn't include App Builder is Adobe Experience Manager Headless CMS. So the first session is a lab, turbocharge front-end applications with headless sites. This is from Gilles and Sean. They're going to show you how to leverage Experience Manager Headless to create, manage, and deliver headless content with ease. And if you're registered for this session already, awesome, because it's full. So you can see in the top there, it's Lab 713. If you're looking through the catalog for Summit, you will notice that yes, that session is full. This one is not full, so you can see there's a QR code that I've got here. So if you want to check it out, you can view that QR code. Session 321, Top Headless CMS Innovations for Experience Manager Sites. So this one is going to be super exciting. We're going to talk about what's coming this year for Adobe Experience Manager Sites, which is going to be amazing. So definitely, if you have an opportunity and you're in Vegas, check that out. Then there's a lab, building engaging forms using core components and headless. So how to use recent innovations in Adobe Experience Manager forms, including headless adaptive form features and best practices around styling, customization, and front-end development. So Anurag and Rishi are going to cover this. This lab currently has, I think there's 2 sessions of the lab, and I think one of them still has space. So yeah, check Lab 716 in your catalog. So if you are interested in all of the AEM sessions and labs, you can hit this QR code in the corner, and that will get you to a page on our Experience League site, which has a list of everything that's there. Okay, now let's jump into App Builder and talk a little bit about the sessions that we have planned for this. So Sarah, you want to talk a little bit about Peter's session?
Yeah, certainly. So this session is actually going to be run by two of the consultants from Adobe, Derek and Peter. Ron and I have worked very closely with them on the content, and they've got some really exciting stuff coming up. So with App Builder available for Experience Manager, and assets is certainly one of the biggest use case that we've seen around extensions and customization that people want to build with App Builder. They're going to essentially show you a guide on how to do this, walk you through in this lab to build, an automated workflow that can help accelerate, all your content automation works.
Yeah, right on. I am looking forward to hearing how this session goes.
Yep.
There will definitely be some exciting features to this.
Yeah, and as Ron mentioned, use the QR code to sign up for the session.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this simplify your composable architecture with Adobe Commerce. This is probably a lot more polished version than the live stream we did last month with Nishant and Russell and I, which I'm not saying that wasn't polished, but this is, we've got Surya, our PMM for Commerce, and Nishant, Director of Product Management for Adobe Commerce. And so they're going to talk about simplifying your composable architecture with Commerce using API Mesh and App Builder. So that should be good, and it's open. So definitely, if you're there, check it out. And if you're watching this after Summit to see kind of what highlights you might want to check out, then definitely check out the replay for this session. All right. Russell, you want to tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so 721 is going to be most of the developers who are going to be attending or who are interested. This is going to be your first toe dip into what App Builder is, how you can use it for commerce. And we actually are helping get people jump started by producing a sample app to allow you to understand the parts and the bits and how things work together. And with that, especially if you wanted to do a little bit of homework before you go to Summit, when you go to this session, you're going to have a fairly decent understanding. And Christian and I worked together to do some documentation to help everybody out. So I'm going to go ahead and flop over to my screen share.
All right.
And if you guys aren't familiar, all of the Magento Dev Docs, all of the old Adobe Docs, Adobe Commerce Docs that we had, everything has been migrated. What's lingering will be finally moved over to either developer.adobe.com or Experience League. Experience League is where you're going to find a lot of the tutorials, a lot of the videos, a lot of the how to understand how to use the tools. And then the developer.adobe.com, all of those were going to be more of the technical documentation. So for this would fall under the Experience League because, once again, we're trying to teach you how to use a new tool. And in this case, for App Builder, we wrote 7 tutorials to talk about how to build your first app. There's actually a whole introduction to what App Builder is, so feel free to go there, check out some of the videos. We actually do even do deeper dives once you've built your first app and you've gone through these steps and you finally understand what to do. Then you could probably take your next step and understanding what eventing is, because eventing is probably going to be the first thing that I would imagine most of our developers are going to want to leverage. Because it takes things that happen in commerce, like orders being created, customers being, created, orders being fulfilled. All those things can kick off events, which then you can consume in App Builder, and then you can do your magic outside of there. And then lastly, the API mesh, which will definitely, climb on top of the back of what Nishant's going to be talking about in his session, because this is where the magic really happens, where you take, I can't remember if you mentioned this earlier, Ron, or not, but this is where you take all of those back-end systems with all of this data, and you simply hit your one endpoint, and it goes and fetches from all these different systems and just returns back to your commerce application whatever you're looking for. You don't have to do 4, 5, 6 requests. It's a beautiful thing. It meshes it together and then gives you a simple formatted response back.
Yeah, exactly. A simple federated model that makes it a lot easier for developers.
Yeah. And I think the thing to take away from here, like especially for people who here maybe on the DevOps side of things, is the old school way of doing these integrations and implementations meant you had to write all of this code, and all of this logic had to live in your Adobe Commerce application. And whereas it's a beautiful architecture because everything is contained, your developers just have one language to learn. The problem is all of those executions take resources. It takes memory, it takes CPU, it takes bandwidth, right? And so if we could take the bulk of those heavy operations out of commerce, what it fundamentally does is it makes your application lighter, which is great. The side effects then become your upgrade paths are simpler because you have a lot less of this hardcore logic that drives the nuts and bolts of your site. You take it and you offload it. That's a benefit. And then all of those resources are being spent on a different server, a different set of servers. And now your application can serve more traffic. Like it's a phenomenal way to think about moving weight off of your application and still being able to produce the same, in fact, probably a better result for your customers. So once again, feel free to peruse Experience League. Definitely, this is a great place for your tutorials. And I'd love to answer any questions anybody might have at the end of the show.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was a great call out about out of process extensibility. I mean, that is the sweet spot of where App Builder plays in offloading, that extensibility piece for these larger applications that then gain, like you're saying, a great deal of flexibility because they're not bogged down by having to run those in process.
Exactly.
So yeah,
beautiful.
Very, very key. Okay. And event-driven architecture is definitely key as a key part of App Builder.
Yeah, and there's a lot of events that are native, and if I'm not wrong, I think you can actually create your own events. I'd have to double check that, but I think there's a whole bunch that are native that which you'd expect, but due to the flexibility, you can create your own, which is, once again, it's a very, very, very cool, powerful feature.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I think to follow what Russell said, we have this thing called custom events. So I think you do have the ability to create additional event types within Commerce, but also even if it's, you're trying to connect your own system, whether, it's a purchase solution or an in-house solution, you want to introduce event architecture to it, you can leverage what we call the custom events, which basically allows you to bring on your own event provider, and set up basically the whole event infrastructure through us to receive any events coming from that system.
It's great. I can't wait.
Yeah. Very, very cool. All right, so let's head back in. We'll go through a couple more of these. Gotta go over, click on that, and there we go. So the Adobe Commerce Rockstar Showcase is a session that Surya and Pat are leading from our product marketing organization. And there are a number of partners and customers that have built things with App Builder and not with App Builder. Like, it's not just all about App Builder. There's actually, I think, two two use cases where they've leveraged App Builder to do innovative and really amazing things. And then others that are just, commerce focused solutions. So this is a great session to see what people are doing, what innovations customers are bringing to bear against Adobe Commerce. So definitely check that one out. It's open, so if you are going, as I mentioned, definitely put it in your on your list of sessions to check out. And then, so that was the developer sessions that we had that we wanted to go through. There's actually a bunch of other developer sessions as well. So there's a whole developer ecosystem track, and my buddy Jeff is the track manager for that. And there is, I think, 12 or so sessions. So you can take a look. The blog post has a list of all those that are listed there. But I think part of us doing this session was, outside of that developer ecosystem track, there's a bunch of other developer focused sessions that you can check out if you're there, or if you're watching it virtually once they post the full catalog online. Okay, so general sessions are, if you're watching virtually, all of these sessions are available. So this is a great way to see what Adobe's up to in these different spheres. So there's a commerce session. I think we've got somebody from T-Mobile, Lonnie Stark, I think, is the person doing the heading up that session, and that will go through, what we're doing in the commerce realm, and definitely something that you can watch and get inspired by. We've got, let's see, impactful experiences from content creation to personalization. So this is the AEM session where you'll get what we're doing in Adobe Experience Manager to address the challenges of large enterprise content management needs, content velocity. How are we making it easier for companies to scale and scale creation and the distribution through all of the myriad different channels that customers need to. How Adobe is transforming omnichannel customer engagement, customer journey innovations. This is around customer journey, or CJO, what is that? Customer journey optimization, organization. I always get these acronyms mixed up, but it's our customer journey management tool. And so definitely that's another interesting one to check out. Personal insights and engagement with Adobe Experience Platform. So I think Anjul and Klaas-Jan are leading that session to talk about how we're thinking about the power of taking the platform and then integrating with Adobe and third-party solutions, right? So integrating with Target, with analytics, with other solutions, and then all of the broad tool set that we provide with Adobe Experience Platform. And then last but not least, B2B organizations, next-gen, scaling those B2B organizations with next-gen experiences. So this is, I think, more around the Marketo side of things, and talking about marketing-led growth engine, next-gen experiences, and automated marketing, right? So that I think is Amit leading that session. So anyways, these sessions, definitely check those out. I think you can't put all of them. Unfortunately, I think there's a couple of that happen at the same time. I think I tried to put all of these in there, and then you get a little exclamation mark, and then when you try and click, it'll go, no, you've got this other session. So it didn't make it easy for you to see all of them, but you can catch the replays on the ones that you weren't able to check out. Okay, I wanted to, I guess last thing is highlight, we have another event coming up, which is our Adobe Developers Live. This page is just, I think, released yesterday. Guys, same with the blog post. Everything kind of came right before Summit. But Adobe Developers Live is coming May 23rd. Mark your calendars. You can go to that link up above if you wanted to RSVP. Tell us that you would like to join. And it will be a session focused on, or a day focused on Adobe Experience Manager. We'll have a bunch of different sessions. We're working out content right now. So probably in April, we'll have more content about, or we'll rather update this page about what sessions are available and what content you can see. So definitely take a look at that. Yeah, and that was pretty much all we had to cover in terms of Summit. Let's see if we've got questions. So we do have some questions. Preston, if you're still with us, he asks a good question, and this is for Sarah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why did we decide only JavaScript runtimes for App Builder?
I think honestly, when we first started, so the underlying one of the serverless solution that's the kind of underlying runs all the custom code on is Adobe I/O Runtime. And Adobe I/O Runtime, as Preston called out, is based on OpenWhisk. And when we first started bringing essentially OpenWhisk into Adobe, start running it ourselves and made further customizations to it. At that time, most of the use cases that we saw are Node.js. And we also love the how open the ecosystem is, the amount of npm packages that you're able to leverage, and just honestly the vast amount of developer community there is out there, leveraging JavaScript and Node.js. So when we had to start with the language, we decided that's going to be the one that we go with. And then we have had some explorations with a couple custom containers for Java or I think Python. Those are the two that we've explored. But honestly, we just haven't seen enough use cases that can't be solved in Node.js that would force us to have to support these alternative containers yet. So Preston, if you have use cases, definitely share with us. We look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Thank you, sir. That was great. Preston also wanted to ask if, Russell, if you got approval to put the Adobe name on your microphone. And I'm going to say yes. Yes, he did.
Yes, I did. I love you, Preston. I really do.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a way, Turndeep, is there a way to get App Builder access to independent developers? So not an agency or a customer. So independent developer. So if you're not a customer, and it's tricky because App Builder is access to App Builder is predicated on you having access to an IMS org. And I know that's definitely been complicated with the adoption of with Commerce customers, because for Commerce that hasn't been a requirement, and the team is working on ways to make that possible and getting IMS orgs available to more folks. But right now, it is a requirement. So if you don't have access to an IMS org, then it makes it difficult to get you access to App Builder. Unfortunately, if you're a partner, like you say, not an agency or a customer, and just an independent developer, if you are a partner with your own or partner organization that's registered with Adobe, then you can get access to a sandbox. I can't remember what you need to, there's levels in the partner program, so I can't remember what level you need to be in order to get qualified for a sandbox. But yeah, we definitely need to make that, I think, a little bit easier. But yeah, so apologies for that. So community partner, yeah. So the question, the follow-up from Tarndeep, is does a community partner, is that qualify? And I don't think it does. I think you have to be bronze level or higher in the partner, again, the ranking, or how, not like the classifications that the partner organization uses. And I don't know what their I don't know what you do to get to be a bronze level, but I do know the community level is not eligible for sandboxes. I think because there's a cost involved for us to supply sandboxes. Anyways, there's a cost involved, and so I think they make it so that if you're a partner that is invested in Adobe, we are going to invest in you and provide you with these sandboxes and access to our solutions. So it's just level of investment that you are putting into Adobe, I guess. So hopefully that helps in kind of understanding that.
Yeah, I do think I do think, you know, behind the scenes there's some work being done to hopefully provide more access to, you know, partners of all levels. So stay tuned, you know, we'll keep you posted as soon as we can get something worked out.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see. Preston is mentioning having a PHP runtimes would give commerce developers an easier path to make the switch versus in-process customization. Yeah, that is something. Yeah, I mean the shift from PHP to JavaScript is definitely one that has been documented as being, you know, complicated, because it like Russell was saying, it's a different mindset, right? So if when you move to a new technology stack, it's definitely going to be some learnings involved in making that transition. But I think once you do, JavaScript is everywhere. It's not to, you know, diminish or say anything you know, negative about PHP, but JavaScript is pretty ubiquitous. So I think leveraging you know, those JavaScript skills with, as Sarah was saying, you know, Node.js is also quite heavily leveraged across the industry, is quite key.
Hopefully in a future version it'll be an option, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Preston's like, if for what it's worth, I've enjoyed learning TypeScript and implementing it, so I don't mind. So that's
I think you'll find that is a very typical trait for most of the, especially if you come from like the you know 5 to 8 plus years of development, that we've done this long enough that it's kind of nice to see other languages and do some experimenting, especially like me. So I was a back-end heavy developer, and most of my front-end counterparts made the transition to using to doing some of these testing and some of the early, you know, use cases. It was so much easier for them because they just naturally lived in it. But for me, it was a lot harder because I didn't get to write a lot of JavaScript. But yeah, like Preston said, I think most of us we're looking forward to this transition because it's new, it's challenging.
Yeah, and I think it'll open up more doors than it closes. Definitely. So anyways, any more questions about really literally anything? We're happy to answer. And if not, we can definitely end here. And yeah, wish everyone a fantastic Friday in whatever way you're, whatever end of the day you're at, if you're at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. But yeah, and have a fantastic St. Patrick's Day. What do you guys, any plans for St. Patrick's Day other than me making you wear green?
I am going to avoid all the green beer. I've had too many experiences with it.
Yeah. I
gotta say, I used to live in Boston, where like that the celebration over there, you know, as you can imagine, is really a lot more intense. So in comparison to West Coast celebration, maybe I'll have a Jameson in celebration.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I went to school in Chicago, and so that's the place where they dye the river green.
I was going to say, is that really a thing? I thought it was a myth, but it's a thing.
Absolutely a thing. So, yeah.
Poor fish.
I don't know if environmentally they still do that, but they did when I was in college. So
that's crazy.
Chicago,
though.
Anyways, have an awesome day, everyone, and we'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh, hey, last thing, next session, we'll do one after Summit, and we're going to focus on UI extensibility in AEM. So definitely check that one out, and I'll have the invite up probably right around when Summit closes.
Beautiful.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.